For many years, the world looked at Hawaii as a tropical paradise with pristine white beaches and coconut palms. Travel agencies advertised the islands as the perfect honeymoon destination, and Hollywood films portrayed them as a carefree tropical paradise. But behind this picture lay a frightening truth. Beneath vacationers' feet slumbered a terrifying and unpredictable force of nature. Just recently, one of America's most dangerous volcanoes began erupting. Why did they turn a blind eye to the real threat for so long? The answer is simple: economic benefit. Hawaii's tourism industry brings in tens of billions of dollars annually. No one wanted to scare tourists with stories about vacationing on an active volcano. Local authorities preferred not to emphasize the danger, and scientists received insufficient funding for comprehensive study of volcanic activity. But you can't fool nature. This year, the local Kilauea volcano reminded the world of itself with unprecedented force. On August 23rd, this year, the 31st eruption occurred since December of last year, a figure that made volcanologists worldwide talk about serious activity. Lava fountains soar to heights of more than 100 feet, and molten rock flows at speeds exceeding that of a running person. The U.S. Geological Survey was forced to raise the aviation color code from yellow to red, the maximum danger level. This means ash and volcanic gases could reach heights of several kilometers, creating a serious threat to aviation. But this is only the beginning. Most frighteningly, scientists admit they don't understand how Kilauea's current activity will end. The volcano is behaving unpredictably. Magma has been rising to the surface along the same path since December, creating conditions for even more powerful eruptions. Each new episode becomes part of one large eruption that could last months or even years. But Kilauea isn't just one volcano. It's part of a massive volcanic system, including 5 giant volcanoes that form the entire island of Hawaii. And it's not just Kilauea that's becoming active now. Mauna Loa, the world's largest volcano by volume, is also showing signs of awakening after 40 years of quiet. Local residents report that the ground beneath their feet constantly trembles. More than 150 earthquakes were recorded in the past week, a figure indicating that magma is actively moving beneath the surface, seeking an outlet. Some tremors reach magnitude 6.9. This is the strongest earthquake in Hawaii in the past 50 years. Authorities have already evacuated thousands of people from dangerous zones, but many refuse to leave their homes. They don't understand what force they're dealing with. But what's happening now could surpass all previous eruptions. And most terrifying, this is only the beginning of the story about how humanity underestimated one of the most dangerous forces on the planet. What makes Kilauea truly terrifying isn't just its size or frequency of eruptions. The fact is that this volcano operates by completely different laws than most other volcanoes on the planet. While classic volcanoes like Vesuvius or Mount St. Helens in the USA explode with a deafening roar and throw ash tens of kilometers high, Kilauea acts differently. It slowly but persistently pours out flows of molten rock capable of destroying everything in their path. The secret lies in the magma's composition. Hawaiian lava contains less silicon, making it more fluid compared to the viscous magma of explosive volcanoes. This creates a deceptive impression of safety. No explosions, no ash columns rising into the stratosphere, just calmly flowing rivers of fire with temperatures reaching 1200 degrees CC. But this apparent harmlessness turns into a terrible trap. Kilauea's lava flows can travel dozens of kilometers, burning forests, destroying homes, and creating new land areas directly in the ocean. When molten lava meets seawater, a poisonous cloud of steam forms that locals call laze, from the words lava and haze. This steam contains hydrochloric acid and volcanic glass particles capable of seriously damaging lungs. Scientists long believed they understood this volcano's operating mechanism. It feeds from a so-called hotspot, an upward flow of molten material from the depths. This hotspot remains stationary while the Pacific plate slowly drifts over it at 7.5 centimeters per year. This is precisely why the entire Hawaiian island chain stretches in one direction. Each island was once positioned over this hotspot, But recent research has overturned scientists' understanding of how Kilauea's underground kitchen works. Using machine learning algorithms, geologists analyzed data on more than 19,000 small earthquakes in recent years. What they discovered amazed the scientific community. It turned out that beneath the volcano exists a complex system of flat magmatic chambers resembling pancakes. These sills, as scientists call them, are positioned one above another at depths up to 40 kilometers below the surface. The largest chamber measures 67 kilometers with a thickness of only 300 meters. Magma flows between these chambers, creating pressure that ultimately pushes molten rock to the surface. This discovery explains why Kilauea's behavior is difficult to predict. Magma can accumulate in deep chambers for months or even years, then suddenly break through to the surface via a system of fissures. Each eruption results from complex pressure interactions in this underground network. Unlike volcanoes located on tectonic plate boundaries, Hawaiian volcanoes receive magma from a virtually inexhaustible source. The hotspot works like a giant pump, continuously supplying molten material to the surface. This is precisely why eruptions here can continue for decades. Kilauea erupted continuously for 35 years, from 1983 to 2018, simply because it never runs out of fuel. And the current series of 31 eruptions in 9 months shows the system is operating at full capacity. 2018 became a turning point in Kilauea study history. What began as ordinary volcanic activation turned into a planetary-scale catastrophe, whose consequences scientists are still studying. On May 3rd, hot magma began breaking through directly in a residential complex where ordinary families lived peacefully, not even suspecting their homes stood on a powder keg. The first fissures appeared right on the asphalt. Residents initially thought these were ordinary road damage, but within hours, tongues of flame and molten lava flows began bursting from the cracks. The eruption lasted more than 100 days. This may not seem like such a long time, but for people who watched lava devour their world every day, it was an eternity. New fissures appeared on the ground daily. Eventually, there were 24. Some erupted lava to heights of 90 min, creating apocalyptic landscapes that looked more like an alien planet's surface. The destruction figures are staggering. 700 homes wiped from the face of the earth. More than 2,000 people left homeless. Lava flows destroyed entire neighborhoods. But most horrifying was the speed at which the catastrophe unfolded. Lava moved at speeds up to 15 mph on flat surfaces, but on slopes, its speed reached 30 mph. Running away from such a flow on foot is impossible. People abandoned cars and all possessions, saving only their lives. The 2018 eruption fundamentally changed the island's geography. Lava flowing into the ocean created gigantic steam clouds visible even from space. International Space Station astronauts photographed this spectacle, unable to believe the scale of what was happening. When 1,200 degrees C lava contacted seawater, explosions formed that threw lava bombs, chunks of molten rock the size of cars, up to 100 meters away. Economic damage exceeded $800 million, but these were only direct losses. The tourism industry suffered billions in losses. The 2018 eruption ended as suddenly as it began. The lava lake in the volcano's main crater dropped hundreds of meters. Earthquakes subsided, and Kilauea seemed to fall asleep. But as we now understand, this was deceptive quiet. The volcano didn't go out. It was simply preparing for a new activity cycle that began in December 2024 and continues today. Today, scientists face a frightening reality. Kilauea's behavior has fundamentally changed. What's happening now doesn't fit within familiar models. Since December 2024, the volcano has demonstrated a new type of activity, short but extremely intense eruption episodes following one another with frightening regularity. The 31st eruption in 9 months, a figure that makes volcanologists worldwide nervous. Never in modern history has Kilauea shown such eruption frequency. Each new episode lasts from several hours to several days, but each one's intensity exceeds many previous eruptions. Ken Hahn, chief scientist at the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory, admits that magma is flowing from the lower chamber at 5 cubic yards per second. This is several times more than previously recorded, but the strangest things are happening not on the surface but in ocean depths. Satellite data showed that axial seamount off Oregon's coast, located at 1,500 meter depth, is also showing signs of activity. This underwater volcano is swelling and emitting seismic signals indicating possible eruption by the end of this year. The connection between Kilauea's activity and underwater volcanoes may seem incredible, but geologists are finding more evidence that the global volcanic system is interconnected much more strongly than previously assumed. The Pacific Ring of Fire may work as a single mechanism where one volcano's activity influences others' behavior. In Alaska, the situation doesn't inspire optimism either. The U.S. Geological Survey raised the danger level to advisory, meaning possible eruption in coming weeks. Near it, Great Sitkin Volcano has been slowly erupting lava for several years, creating a permanent dome of molten rock on its summit. Even Iliamna, long considered dormant, has begun showing seismic activity. Experts are forced to resume intensive monitoring of this volcano. It seems that volcanoes that have been dormant for decades are simultaneously awakening throughout the Pacific region. Meteorologist Jonathan Bells tries to calm the public. According to him, one volcano's eruption typically doesn't lead to another volcano's eruption elsewhere on Earth. Dozens of volcanic eruptions occur daily, but we don't notice most of them. But now many scientists no longer share this optimism. In recent months, new threats have been added to volcanic activity that could turn a regional problem into a global catastrophe. On July 16, 2025, a magnitude 7.3 earthquake occurred off Alaska's southern coast, leading to a tsunami warning. Waves up to 5 feet high crashed onto Hawaii, forcing thousands to evacuate from coastal areas. The president declared a state of emergency and called on citizens to be resilient and take care of themselves. The connection between Alaska's powerful earthquake and Kilauea's activity may seem far-fetched, but geologists increasingly say the Pacific Plate behaves as a single system. A system of interconnected magmatic chambers encompasses not only Hawaii and Kilauea, but also its giant neighbor, Mauna Loa. This means one volcano's eruption could trigger another's activity. And Mauna Loa isn't just a large volcano. It's Earth's largest active volcano, capable of erupting lava in volumes tens of times greater than Kilauea's power. Mauna Loa's last eruption occurred in 1984 and lasted 22 days, creating lava flows that reached the outskirts of Hilo City. If this giant awakens now, while Kilauea is already active, the consequences could be catastrophic. Two simultaneously active volcanoes could change the entire Pacific region's climate, but the threat could come from an unexpected direction. On June 20th, 2025, a particularly powerful solar flare occurred that directly affected Hawaii. Within days, Kilauea's activity sharply increased. Coincidence? Many scientists no longer consider this chance. Meanwhile, life in Hawaii has become a constant wait for catastrophe. Locals have learned to live with the thought that the ground beneath their feet could start moving at any moment. Many keep water and food supplies in their cars, and evacuation plans are discussed at dinner along with weather forecasts. The tourism industry tries to present volcanic activity as a unique attraction, but authorities are forced to constantly tighten safety measures. Since 2018, the fine for being near an active volcano is up to $5,000. The problem isn't just tourists wanting selfies against lava flow backgrounds. Locals often refuse to evacuate, not believing in the threat's reality or unwilling to abandon their homes. Many who lost everything in 2018 still live in temporary shelters, lacking funds to rebuild housing. But perhaps most frightening is understanding that Kilauea's current activity may be only the beginning. Geological history shows that periods of intense volcanic activity in Hawaii can last decades. And if Mauna Loa joins Kilauea, the islands could become uninhabitable for years. While politicians debate whether to restrict construction in dangerous zones, and scientists try to create more accurate prediction models, Kilauea continues its destructive work. And no one knows when this will end, or if it will end at all.